full solution, I'm just going to show you the next solution, and I'll explain it. In this example, we have an a value of -2, a b value of 8, and a c value of -5. So we're doing the same thing. Negative b, so -8, plus or minus b squared, which is 8 squared, minus 4 times a times c. If I multiply 4 times 2 times 5, 4 times 5 is 20, 20 times 2 is, what's 40 times 2? 40? Yeah, 40. Excuse me. And then 8 squared is 64. So 64 minus 40 is 24. Square root of 24, remember, we have to simplify the radical. 24 can be evenly divided by 4. So that splits into square root 4 and square root 6. Square root 4 just becomes 2. And now this becomes -8 plus or minus 2 root 6 divided by -4. Why is it a -4? Because my a value is negative. So what does that do? That just changes the sign. So positive answer becomes negative, and negative answer becomes positive because I'm dividing by -4. So now the final answer, I factor out a 2 from 8 and 2. So it becomes 4 plus or minus root 6. But because we have a negative sign, in this example, they just inverted or reciprocated the signs. Instead of doing plus or minus, did minus or plus, just to show that the negative sign did something. But in reality, it didn't really do anything. You still have a positive answer and a negative answer. So in this case, it doesn't do much. So it just becomes 4 minus root 6 over 2 or 4 plus root 6 over 2. So same thing. Same two answers. One's a positive answer, one's a negative answer. And here we just have more examples of exact roots. But in this example, we have it equal to 0. Well, wait, so we did, sorry, we always had it equal to 0. I apologize. One of the things for using the quadratic formula is one side has to equal 0, actually. Sorry, what I meant to say is we have a common factor between all 3 terms, and I can just divide everything by 4. Why would we do that? Because now we're working with smaller numbers. There's no need to work with really large numbers if I can reduce and simplify. But if you say you didn't see the common factor and you just plugged in 4, 24, and 36, you would get the exact same answer. So don't think that, oh, wait, I didn't find it. No, it doesn't matter. You still will get the same answer, except usually it's easier to work with smaller numbers, so I would recommend students doing this. So yeah, if I were to just plug this in, 6 would be my b value now. 6 squared is 36. My a value is 1, my c value is 9. So 4 times 9 is 36. So 36 minus 36 is 0. In this example, the radical just simplifies to 0. And the final answer just becomes -6 over 2, which is -3. And we only have one answer in this example because the discriminant was equal to 0. And that's my exact answer. And here is an example of no solutions. So if my a value is 8, b value is -11, c value is 5, -11 squared minus 4 times 8 times 5. 4 times 5 is 20. 20 times 8 is 160. 11 squared is 121. So 121 minus 160 is going to give you a negative answer. You cannot take the square root of a negative number. That's another way that is kind of foolproof. If you use the quadratic formula and you have no idea how to figure out whether there's one solution, no solutions, 0 solutions, well, if you just use the quadratic formula and you do it properly, you do proper math, you'll eventually get to the right answer because you cannot take the square root of -39. A lot of students, what they do is they just take the square root of +39 and just write that because they don't know. And that's really sad because they should trust themselves and realize that, hey, you know what, I did it right. Because they think that, oh, wait, I got a negative answer. I have to take the square root of something. Let me just change the negative answer to the positive answer and maybe that'll give me the right answer. And no, they'll give you the absolute wrong answer. The correct answer is a negative value. You just have to write no solutions. So please, please, please don't forget that. All right, so we already did example 5, and now we have a word problem. I will be going over the word problem because I know students usually struggle and find it a little bit more challenging when it comes to word problems. So let me do that a little bit more in depth. All right. Ball is thrown. Equation is given below. If h is the height, so that's the height, your y value is the height, usually that's the case, and d, or your quote-unquote x value, is the horizontal distance. I mean y and x, I mean typically like your independent variable. So yeah, so d is the horizontal distance. At what height was the ball thrown? So let's think about this. Initially, they're asking for height. So we don't know height. But we do know the distance from the person who threw the ball. So if I have a person and they got a nice ball in their hands and they're gonna chuck it away from them. In the very beginning moment when they're holding the ball, how many meters is the ball from the person? If they're holding the ball, and I want an answer to this. Class, wake up. How far is the ball going to be from someone who's holding the ball? How many meters away? 1 meter away, 10 meters away, 2 meters away, 0.5 meters away, 10 centimeters away? How far? Lynn has an answer. What do you think? There's only one person that's answering. No one else is awake right now. Everyone fell asleep. Let's see. Wow, no one else knows. No one else wants to take a guess. All right, we got one more person coming in. So let's do some common sense. And all of you who are saying 0 are correct. Good job. The initial value D is 0 meters because the ball is not, it's still touching them. So if the ball is, like if you're holding the ball, that means you have the ball. It's not any distance away from you. Even if you stretch your arm, it's still touching you, right? So it's going to be 0 meters. So you have to use some common, when it comes to word problems, you have to use a lot of common sense and just like, hey, you know what? This is the scenario. This is what's happening. So now my question is, if D is equal to 0, plug it into the equation. What is the initial height going to be? I want an answer in the chat, class. If D is 0, substitute that into the equation. What's the initial height going to be? Only one person is brave enough. Oh, we got 2. Okay. And most of you got this right. If I sub in 0 into D, it's going to be negative 0.25 times 0 squared plus 2 times 0 plus 1.5. Anything times 0 is just 0. So the final answer is just 1.5 meters. Remember, word problems, you got to use units. You got to write statements. So it's something like the initial height is 1.5 meters. Okay. How far has the ball traveled when it lands on the ground? So we know, oh, that's not what I want. We know we got little, what's this person's name? Let's give it a name. Let's call it Nolan. We got Nolan here. Standing.